Good afternoon, and welcome to Outsider Club's Chart Wars. I'm Britton Ryle. This is my buddy Christian, the Hammer to Hammer. And guess what?
Hello.
We're having coffee together. This is what we do sometimes. We get on Zoom and we have coffee. I'm having iced coffee because that's how I roll. In any event, today Christian has some alarming Bitcoin news for you. So he's going first. Christian, tell us about the Bitcoin.
Well, Britt, I made a lot of money on MicroStrategy over the last year. We sold half at 718% gains, and I just sold the last half on Friday. I think it was 430%. I also sold Bitcoin, a big triple-digit gain there. Um, Back in last year, in April of last year, when I first recommended these two plays, it was based on the halving. Bitcoin rewards miners, and every X amount of Bitcoins mined, the reward gets cut in half. And this has happened, I think, five or six times before. And each time it happens, the price of Bitcoin goes up a tremendous amount. And when it first happened, it went up 6,000%. The second time it happened, it went up 3,000, then it went up 1,500%. And so based on this pattern, my prediction was it was going to go up 300%, or from around $40,000 to $120,000. And that's exactly what happened. And then it stuck around $120,000 for a little bit. I had some hope that it might, you know, there's a tremendous amount of hype this cycle around Bitcoin. They had a lot of catalysts, ETFs coming out and whatnot. Anyway, in
Mhm.
MicroStrategy, let me share this chart with you.
On chart. Go. Ooh, there it is. I see it.
All right. And so MicroStrategy, you know, went from whatever it was, $40 or something, up to seven. It topped out here 539, and and then it tried to make another new high, and it like that's essentially a double top, and then it pulled back again. It broke its uptrend, and you can see this long-term uptrend. Could put you around 200. The MACD is has crossed over above the zero line and is headed lower. Um, the deal is that MicroStrategy is a leverage play on Bitcoin. They borrow money and they buy Bitcoin. Then they use that Bitcoin that they own as collateral to borrow more money. They also dilute their shares. They've diluted their shares something like 42% this year. Their core business is a software business that nobody cares about anymore. The revenue is down 6.6% this year. They're extremely highly leveraged with $7.2 billion in long-term debt and a 1.13 debt to equity ratio. Um, they have a $42 billion plan to raise more capital. Each time this is happening, they're going to dilute the shareholders. Insiders are selling. The chief financial officer is like dumping like a tremendous amount of shares. Um,
Never
and
good.
it's never good. And
The CFO.
Strategy's a whole business plan is highly dependent on the price of Bitcoin going higher. So if Bitcoin does go lower, which it is, it's down to 113 today, I think. And if it drops below, you know, 100, like 90, I think you'll have a catastrophic downturn in strategy. And I think
Mhm.
after each of these halving events, the Bitcoin goes into what's called a Bitcoin winter or a crypto winter, where it falls 70% and then it stagnates for a year or two. Are we going to have that? I mean, it's happened before. It's the pattern. So, I mean, you really can't value Bitcoin any other way than on previous patterns, and that's why I'm out. And so, if you have any strategy as it's now called, I would suggest you sell it. I sold it. I told my readers to sell it on Friday last week, And so we avoided the whole shenanigans here. And that's what I got for you today.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a good one, Christian. I love it. I love it. Nobody wants to say anything negative about Bitcoin in this environment, but that doesn't. Hammer's his own man. He'll tell you what he thinks. All right, here comes mine. Sharing. God's sakes, what a disaster. All right, Christian, this is my chart. This is Enphase energy, Enphase technology, rather. No, it is energy. Look at that. Christian, this is my chart. Enphase energy. Ticker symbol is ENPH. You know what I like about this stock?
No,
It's
what?
up to it's up today. It's
Nice.
actually in the green in a brutal market because it is ugly out there. Now, Enphase is a solar stock. Now, you might ask, why on earth would you want to buy a solar stock? Which is what everyone's been saying for the last year. This is the year chart of Enphase. Look at it. It's just nothing but selling because everybody thought that Trump hates solar, right? Well, on Friday, this past Friday, the IRS released its newest rules on how to account for solar credits, and they're basically back, baby. Solar credits are back, especially for residential installations. Now, Enphase makes microinverters for residential solar installations, mostly residential anyway. A microinverter converts sunlight to electricity. So, kind of important if you want your solar panels to work. And Enphase is one of the biggest microinverter companies in the world. Market cap is $4 billion, not huge. The forward PE ratio right now is about 14 as reported. And the PEG ratio, price to earnings growth, is about 0.6. So there's growth, and it's also cheap. Anything below 1 is considered cheap for a PEG ratio. Now, here's something that gets me excited about Enphase. 3 months ago, fiscal 2026 earnings were estimated to be $3.31 a share. Today, that estimate is at $2.50 a share. That's a big drop. And it's because everyone thought that solar credits were going away. They were going to disappear, but that is not true, which means these earnings estimates are going to go right back up. That also means the current PE ratio on the stock is probably more like 10, and there's a 30% short interest on the stock. That's people who've been shorting all this time, riding it lower, thinking, oh, this stock's going to zero or something like that. Well, that's not happening. This long-term trend line is just getting broken now. I drew it so that in a way that the stock responds to it the best. It's kind of how you draw a trend line, find a highest point, and then sort of gauge where it hits the trend line and fails. That's the definition of a trend line, where the stock rallies to and then fails, which it has been doing. It is now finally beating the trend line today. It's exceeded the 21-day moving average, which for short-term trading, that is your all clear signal. And the 50-day moving average is like what, 6% higher at 38. And I think a move to 50 over the next couple of months is probably in the works. So I really like the way Enphase looks right here. And that's what I got for you today.
Ah,
Good
looks
old, good old,
good. That's a
good old
great
Enphase.
idea. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Once again, I'm Britton Ryle. This is Christian DeHamer. We are Outsider Club's Chart Wars. Thanks for tuning in,
Later.
and we'll see you soon. Oh, wait. Man, I forgot to stop sharing. Okay. All right, that's what I got for you today. Once again, I'm Britton Ryle. This is Christian DeHamer. We are Outsider Club's Chart Wars. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.
Later.